This is Dimitri Alexandrov, Vladimir Putin's least favorite wrestler, telling you to go and drink at Moe's.
All right, everybody, taking time out before we get this show started. I want to thank Reaper Apparel for having Drinkin Mo's be a brand ambassador for their clothing line. They got good stuff. They got t-shirts, they got hoodies, they got beanies, they got lots of great stuff, encouraging everybody to break out of their comfort zone, live their best self, and hey, it's something I try to live every day. Now, be sure when you go and you're filling out your order, use the code Drinkin at Moe's, get 10% off, and the link and the code will both be in the description. Let's fucking go. All right, everybody, and welcome to Drinkin' Moe's. Big Mo here. You know the drill. YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good shit, because it helps with that pain in the ass YouTube algorithm. I can't state that enough. We're pretty much most major podcast platforms, so leave a review there. Definitely helps. Today, I'm excited to have with me somebody, I've been lucky enough to talk with a bunch of people in the deathmatch community. I got another one here with me today, Dimitri Alexandrov. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on, Mo.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a pleasure. Yeah. Like I said, I've been lucky enough to talk with some of my personal Mount Rushmore of deathmatch wrestling, having like Alex Colon, John Wayne Murdoch.
Hell yeah.
He took no fault of his own. It was kind of multiple factors. His schedule and my kind of, well, let's just say it's been a weird last year or so. And he was understanding about it. But took almost a year, but we finally got it done.
Hey, there goes.
And Madman Pondo. And I kind of mentioned before recording that my first legit death match I saw was with Jake Chris versus Joel Bateman. I've had him on.
Oh yeah, Joel's great. I love him.
Or Jake Chris, I had him on. But I got to talk with Joel too. It was at Sammy Callahan's promotion, Wrestling Revolver.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that always a good time there. But yeah, I've been lucky. Really, there's only two people on my Mount Rushmore that I haven't talked to, and that's Matt Tremont and Nick Gage.
Oh, hell yeah.
Matt's
a great guy. I love him.
Oh, yeah. No, I got nothing but great things to say about him.
Cool dude.
Totally. I've chatted a little bit with him, but, his in-ring career running H2O, he's kind of a busy man. But, speaking of H2O, I'm continually having on people from H2O, so maybe it's only a matter of time there.
Oh, we've had talks, so it's only a matter of time.
Oh, yeah. And, Nick Gage, I see him on, good Lord, the moment that first note of his music hits, it's like a goddamn mosh pit in there. I'm like, every time I watch it, I'm like, God damn it, I want to be there.
Definitely.
Don't even care if I'm front row. I just want to be in the freaking crowd.
Breathe in the spooky dust,
Oh. But, first thing I like to start off with everybody with is what got you started as a fan, and then what was that moment or time frame where you're like, I'm doing that?
Well, I got into wrestling. It's kind of funny. So I have older siblings. They all kind of taped their Saturday morning cartoons. I got hooked on old 80s cartoons from like G.I. Joe and the Real Ghostbusters and shit like that. My brother would make me watch these, and I had no idea that Sergeant Slaughter in G.I. Joe was a real person. I just thought he was a cool cartoon character. But then my brother would just record these from the USA Network. It was on Saturday morning, right? And afterwards, they'd have Superstars
Mm.
at noon. There was commercials left on these tapes. And then I saw this commercial for WF Superstars. Like, what is this? What is this? And at the very end of it, it ends with it's like WF Superstars, be there. And then it cuts over to Slaughter, and it's like, and that's in order. And I'm like, my 4-year-old mind is blown. He's like,
Yeah.
he's real? What is this? So I watch it, and I'm like, oh, this is just like Street Fighter, but real life. Oh,
No.
man. But and my parents, since they're foreign and everything, they had that satellite for the first few years. So they got the big TV guide. It comes in the mail every week, and I'm looking through it through weird random European channels, and I find a channel that is from Amsterdam, the Netherlands, and it has New Japan Pro Wrestling on it.
Ooh.
I'm 4, so I'm like, I'm gonna watch this. I put it on. The first thing I see is Jushin Thunder Liger, and I'm like, this is a fighting game with superheroes. I'm gonna watch this. And like from then on, it was hooked. I had to start watching everything. I started watching WCW. And then when I was in my teens, I started really liking FMW, which is probably where I
Mm.
started first seeing deathmatch wrestling for the first time. Uh, I was late to ECW, which is a weird thing to say. Like I was late to it; it had already died, but I was still like a teenager, and I was like, "This is cool."
Oh
But
yeah, no, I get it.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like a lot of tape trading when I was young, really
Yeah.
young. I got really into a lot of the old tape trading stuff, real young age.
Oh yeah, no, I can get you there. Me being from the small town that I'm originally from, didn't have so much of a tape trading scene, but boy, was it, yeah, every Saturday morning, you know, I, I mean, I got my collections behind me. I'm trying to rebuild one of them. It was Ninja Turtles and pro wrestling for me.
Hell yeah, hell
That was,
yeah.
I watched GI Joe and stuff, and the whole Sergeant Slaughter thing. But yeah, it was, you know, I was the one in my family that just the first time I saw it, and I'm like, I'm wanting to say it was Hogan, Warrior, or the Road Warriors. I was just like, oh my god, that is the best stuff ever.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like growing up in a Catholic family, I mean, I'm not really practicing anymore, but
sure, sure.
that's a whole other thing that I don't really discuss on the channel. But they would always want to go to Saturday evening mass. And when, WCW Saturday night, and I was just like, I want to watch wrestling.
Yeah, you got to see the set with the cool doors that open like this and the smoke. I always love that shit.
Oh, yeah.
I love that set. It's so cool.
Oh,
Like I just love that. Like the whole ambiance. It was cooler than Nitro for a while. I don't know. I was weird about that though. I thought the set looked way cooler. Granted,
oh,
it's
yeah.
like what? It's like 200 people in there, maybe 300. It's not a huge amount of people, but it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
so cool.
Oh, man. It was amazing. Yeah. Uh, almost like, oh, God. Those doors that looked like they'd be in like a military bunker and just, oh, yeah. It was something else. But you mentioned FMW, and that's where getting into deathmatch wrestling. I mean, I didn't catch so much of FMW until much later, but was that around the time that you're like, you're doing that? I'm doing wrestling. That is,
I wouldn't say that actually. So I didn't get into actually like wanting to actually do wrestling. So for longest time, I had this notion that oh, I'm too small for it. I'm too small for it,
mm,
right? I'm 6'3", just saying that. but for the longest time I was a real skinny kid. I was like, oh, I can't do this. And it wasn't until 2005 I went to a Ring of Honor show.
mm,
And I got hooked on Ring of Honor because my brother bought a tape on a whim that
mm.
had because my brother lived in Chicago at the time, and he said, "Oh, this local wrestling company." He thought they were a local company. He had no idea. Had that guy you liked as a kid because they had Weekend of Thunder, which was they had Liger for a weekend, and they
Oh
had
yeah.
worked some people, right? So he's like, "Yeah, it's a local company." Okay, it's not a local company, but it was really funny. My brother thought that. So I went to a show, and it's a show called Vendetta. I have the DVD now. But they had Roderick Strong versus Brian Danielson was on that show.
Ah,
Um, Post show, Brian Danielson's just there, just chilling out. He didn't have merch. He's chilling out. And I came up to him, I was like, "Hey man, I really liked your match with Liger. I thought he'd be a dickhead because he's a heel, right?" Um, And I was like, yeah, I'd love to be a wrestler, but I'm too short. And he's like looking up at me, and he's like, the fuck is wrong with you? The guy talked to me for like 20 minutes straight. He's like, yeah, do all this stuff, and like, yeah, you can do it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that guy's cool. That guy is forever my dude because of that. He was just the coolest person ever. That kind of was like, yeah, I can go to wrestling school, but then I still put it off until eventually I just like I was like, I'm graduating college. I hate my degree. I hate all this. I actually want to get into something I love. I love wrestling. I've loved wrestling my whole life. I'm gonna actually do it now. So
No, I can totally relate in some ways. I know with you know, having that one guy that, kind of encouraged. I I know through my interactions of having the podcast, I've definitely had people on that when I've actually got to end up meeting, like Jake Chris, who him and his guy Bobby Olson, I swear, two of the coolest dudes ever. I have
yeah,
got nothing but great things to say about them.
I've been on shows with those guys. They're both great. I love them.
Oh yeah, no, I nothing but great things to say about them, and they've been huge help. And like I said, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant there if I keep going. But yeah, no, I can totally get it. And right now where you're at with the Texas is kind of a hotbed of wrestling right now. I'm noticing all sorts of stuff all over the place. Like
Yeah,
like I mentioned having Matthew Palmer on. Him and Metroplex Wrestling, they're doing amazing things down there, including getting ready to, well, I forget if it already happened, but the show they're going to have that's kind of a joint show with Revolver
on the 14th actually. Yeah, it
on the
hasn't happened just yet.
14th.
Yeah.
Okay, I was saying I was thinking it was coming up, but yeah, that's going to be amazing. I've seen the card for that one. That's going to
Oh
be
yeah.
nuts. What was it? Steve Macklin, Lance Archer, and the guy's name is
Rick
escaping.
Savage
Rick Savage. Yes, that's
lives
holy
down the
crap.
street from me.
No kidding.
Yeah,
I need to
I
I
go to the
need to
gym with him
get
sometimes.
oh yeah, I need to get him on. But yeah, I saw that on the card. I'm like, oh God. Like Hoss fight to end all Hoss fights right there. Holy crap. Like I've had the pleasure of meeting Lance Archer, and nice dude. I nothing nothing bad to say about him. But holy crap, before you start talking to him, intense, like intimidating. So yeah, I'm gonna be excited for that one.
Hell yeah, yeah.
So you're also involved with Hot Pro, which I've interviewed a few people and got kind of introduced to Hot Pro. What is the show there like for you?
Hot Pro is a company that like it's existed for a while. It used to be called Heart of Texas, obviously. Guy bought it. Now he's bought a few different companies. I'm currently their hardcore champion. I've also been their main champion before that. They've had me do both kinds of normal and deathmatch wrestling. I like to be a Swiss Army knife, so I don't like to be just a one-trick pony.
Oh yeah.
But HOT, they run around a little bit of the Texas lower part and the mid part. They have been in Austin. They do their best shows in Austin. I'll be honest with you. Austin though, it's kind of still a hotbed for wrestling. It still has Inspire Pro and stuff like that. They're still down here.
Oh
But
yeah. Yeah. Then you have Booker T has his promotion down there.
down in Houston, yeah.
They're doing amazing things, even bringing in NXT talent every so often. That's something else. Not something you really see or haven't seen too often from WWE promotion for sure. They don't
Oh
really
yeah.
farm their guys out very much.
They're trying to. They're trying new things, man. I'm excited for that.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, when I first started noticing it, I'm like, okay, this is different. Not something you really expect from them, but hey, if they're gonna start branching out that way a little bit, I'm not opposed to it.
Oh yeah.
But one thing I like to talk with each of the guys that I have on that have been in deathmatch. because I know I've heard this question asked a bunch, like at shows. Why?
Why?
Because why? Because why deathmatch? Because what people don't, people just see the craziness of it, and they might not understand why somebody would want to put themselves through that.
Understandable. I see it as a another form to paint a picture, if you will. I see it as like that. I see that I can I can do a normal match all day long. We can do the King's Road style, something funny like that. But when you step into deathmatch wrestling, it is a whole different game. You have different emotions you can convey through everything, all your actions, everything you're doing, you can convey differently. And there's going to be a lot of the expressiveness of like the blood coming down your face, little things like that. And honestly, I always tell people this. I think that deathmatch wrestling has this stigma about it because it is, like, yes, I'm bleeding on it. I'm bleeding and stuff like that. That being said, I have been hurt far more in normal matches than I have death matches. I more concussions in normal matches than death matches. It's like, yes, it is a violent, bloody affair, but when you're in there with someone who knows what they're doing, and two guys in there just are ready to go in there and tell a story, yes, there's a certain level of violence, but I think it's such a controlled massacre
Mm.
that I think like it's beautiful in its own way.
Oh, most definitely, and something that often gets brought up with the people that I've been able to talk to is deathmatch wrestling being pretty much just like regular wrestling, just surrounded with all the deathmatch elements. I mean, you got the storytelling, you
Yes.
know, more often than not, with death matches, when it's done in that way, you're not starting off, with the big shit right away. You're kind of,
Oh
you kind of,
no.
you kind of go and amp it up as it goes, telling that story as it's amping up.
Yes.
So,
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
And
It,
oh, go ahead.
no, no. I definitely want to put that aside. Talk about how it's the same storytelling. It is the same aspects. You can even break it down on like the levels of of a basic match, a heel and baby face. You can talk. There's a heat. There's a shine. You're still working to similar notes. There is
Yeah,
always going to be that because the fans are going to want a certain story they can follow. At the same time, the violence brings them in as well. So it's
yeah,
you're using the basic storytelling elements of wrestling, but with the violence, and that's where
yeah.
you kind of bring up the crowd for everything.
Oh, yeah. Nope. I can totally understand. You get the people drawn in that like the storytelling elements, but then you also get them like just glued with the violence because you know lots of people when they see violent stuff like that they can't help but their eyes just go right
Yeah.
to it. So I can totally get it. I've been lucky enough to be at, like I said, a no ring deathmatch show. I actually got part of a door that was broken and signed by a lot of the guys on the card. And funny thing I always like to tell people when I talk to about that show was not only do I have one of the gusset plates that was in the show, but I also have a piece like the connector cap of a light tube that flew off and hit me in the foot.
Oh, damn.
Like it flew off and hit me in the foot, and I got that laying around here somewhere.
Those you gotta watch out for those light tubes, man. It's not the tube itself that hurts. It's the core inside. That metal
Mm-hmm.
core. So many times I've landed on that and cut my hand open right here and there. It's like, oh, it's the worst. It's so
Oh
deep.
god, yeah, that metal part of the connector cap there, like, oh god, yeah, that
Razor
piece that I
sharp.
have, it's like, okay, I got to be careful how I pick that up. It'll go over there.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I've been lucky enough through that. Oh god, I mentioned. Well, I'll go into it. I part of one of my categories is I like to ask some random questions. We'll go over those later. but a little preview. One of them that I always like to ask is a craziest moment. And I got one involving that particular match from Jake Chris versus Joel Bateman.
Okay.
But one thing I wanted to, well, before we get into all that,
Okay.
I've noticed some pictures on Facebook. You're still a double champ?
I'm a triple champ right now, actually.
Triple champ now. Because I've only seen the one with the 2 belts.
Yes, the 2 deathmatch titles, yes.
That is, hey, Deanna Prazo used to call herself the champ. You're the deathmatch champ.
Yes, I call myself the deathmatch champ. And then I also have the Inspire Pro Pure Prestige Championship, which is a technical wrestling championship at the same time of that. So, Swiss Army knife. That's what I like to be.
Very much so, with the deathmatch titles and that one. Holy crap, yeah. That is very much the Swiss Army knife of wrestling titles.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Now, everybody in pro wrestling, independent wrestling, everybody's traveling all over the place. Have you gone outside of Texas much?
Yes, actually. I've wrestled a few different times for St. Louis Anarchy.
Okay. I haven't been to their shows, but I've been out to St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah. I've also wrestled for Naptown Pro, which is in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked for New Fear City up in New York City.
Oh boy.
And yeah, I worked for them for Casanova's company. And then I also worked for a Chicago company called Zawa. It was very,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I worked for them. Yeah.
I've talked with a few people that have gone through their doors.
But
Very
yeah.
familiar with them. So that's awesome, because I'm always curious, people have their places where they kind of center, but then
Yes.
a lot of people branch out. So I'm always curious where people branch out to.
I definitely don't want to be just the Texas guy. I do like being the flag bearer for Texas Deathmatch Wrestling, and I do like to welcome all the hard hitting guys from all over the country to come in. I always welcome that. That being said, I want to take it else. I want to take more prestige and bring it back to Texas. I want people to know that the Texas scene is alive. Because sometimes I feel like people look over Texas. Sometimes I know you said there's a lot of hype with Texas, which is true. But I think in the deathmatch community, a lot of people think there's no one anymore because a lot of the guys have retired.
Yeah, no, there is a lot of that, but hell, Revolver's kind of branching out more and more to Texas, maybe branching out to some of the Des Moines and the Ohio shows.
Oh, hey, there you go.
I mean, hell, we've talked a handful about Jake Chris. He's their champ right now. Getting involved there would be pretty intense. I mean, I know this last show in Des Moines, it was a no rope barbed wire match with him and Alex Colon.
That's so awesome, man.
Oh yeah, like I said, I didn't get to go to that one. I have been front row for one, and wow.
Did you get some goggles?
You know what? No, but I probably needed them because I've already been to one match where a light tube was used and the guy's face got like I don't know how he could see, but he got spun around in front of me, and before I knew it, there was blood on my phone, on my
Splat.
shirt, all
Oh
over it.
no.
And I was just like, okay. So yeah.
You're in the splash zone for a reason, man.
Yeah, you know what? They probably needed that warning there, like they have for like SeaWorld and the Shamu shows. You're in the splash zone. Be prepared. Yeah. Now, I have two categories that I kind of like to round stuff off with here. One's a bit of a name game where I name off some people and you give me your quick thoughts on them. These guys have all been in deathmatch. They're like, they can do it all, but they're like known for deathmatch. And you know what? Coincidentally, each one of them has been a guest on this show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
First one, we talked a little bit about him, Jake Christ.
Jake Chris is awesome. I think he is. He too is also a Swiss Army knife. I've seen that guy do awesome X Division matches. I saw him. Hell, I'm pretty sure back in the day when him and his brother were known as the Irish Airborne, they were on one of those Ring of Honor shows I saw when I was like a teenager. I'm pretty sure they did a tag match on one of those Ring of Honor shows. So those guys, they've been doing it forever. I think they were like probably 16 when they were on that show. Those guys have just been doing it forever, man. I think they're awesome.
They're great. I know. You know, when you talk about Swiss Army knife, I've seen him with the death match, and then I've also seen him in a triple threat match for a CMLL title with Rocky Romero and Lince Dorado.
Dang, that's awesome.
that was pretty intense. I loved it. Now, next guy, mentioned it took me a little bit to get him on, but I actually have a collector item from him up there. Very, very proud of that episode. The Duke of Hardcore, John Wayne Murdoch.
The Duke, man, he is great. I would love to wrestle him. I definitely want to. I think we were almost scheduled to wrestle twice now, and it hasn't happened because of some dates. Hopefully that happens. Much like how it took forever for you to get him on the show. Hopefully I get a match with him one-on-one a lot sooner than later.
That would be one I would love to see for sure. Next one up, I think this guy was actually my first big name deathmatch guy that I've had on. Alex Colon.
Alex is I for a while I think he's been one of the single best at deathmatch wrestling in the entire world. I have a dream match is a very light thing I could say about him. He's who I would love to work him as well. I think he's awesome. You know, he's always been the man, and I met him on one different show. He was just really cool. So, what can you say? He's great.
Oh yeah, again another person I've got nothing but great things to say about him. When I had him on, when we got done recording, he was mentioning how he was getting ready to invest in some new kick pads, so he was trying to sell off his old ones. Okay. So I was like, "How much do you want?" And he was like, "Make me an offer." Well, long story short, signed ring-worn kick pads.
There you go.
And I even found a picture of him doing a double knee into a pane of glass onto a guy with these on. So I'm like, I'm gonna get like a shadow box or something, get that picture blown up in there with them. That I'm proud of those. I'm proud to have them.
That's a sick collector's item. I love that.
Oh, most definitely. Last but not least, this guy tried to downplay when I called him a deathmatch legend, Madman Pondo.
Oh man, Pondo's great. I posted a picture of me and Pondo about a week or two ago.
I was wondering if I think I saw that.
Yeah, cool guy. I love Pondo. Humble.
Oh,
so humble. You know, he still goes out there on tours of Japan and stuff, man. I mean, the guy is he's been doing this for years and years and years. He is definitely one of the forever Baka Gaijin, as he calls himself. But man, nice guy. Can't say a mean thing about him.
Oh yeah,
super humble.
Oh, super humble. Yeah, like I said, he tried to downplay when I called him a deathmatch legend. I'm like, dude, when people think of deathmatch wrestling Mount Rushmore's like all time,
right?
You're on there for more often than not for people. So I respect you for being humble, but you're a legend.
Hell yeah.
And you know, this guy, I didn't have him on the list, but you were talking about Ring of Honor. It made me think of this guy because, well, he used to own Ring of Honor and he's been on this show. Kerry Silken.
Wow. He's been on the show? I didn't know. That's sick.
He was one of not my first one on Zoom, but he was one of the first.
That's awesome, man.
It was right.
God.
Like, he said that he'd do it before Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor, but then Tony Khan bought it, and he told me to just not promote the show beforehand because Tony Khan didn't really like his guys doing random podcasts. But he said that he told me that he would already do mine,
Okay.
so just to not promote it beforehand.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, if that's what I got to do, that's what I got to do.
That's awesome, man.
But yeah, it was definitely an honor having him on, because it's like, holy crap, this guy owned Ring of Honor during one of its like peak periods, and he's sitting here talking to me.
Yeah.
Back before I even had 100 subscribers on YouTube.
Dang. What a cool guy.
Oh, nothing but great things to say about him. I never got to meet him in person just yet, but I know I've heard people when talking about that episode, they're like, holy crap, I didn't think he really even did many podcasts. I'm like, well, he did mine.
I'm over here. I did it.
Yeah, definitely one of those things. It was funny.
Nice.
Now, I have some random questions.
Okay.
And some might be wrestling related, but looking at my notes, most of them are.
Okay.
But I never know until I'm putting my notes together. I'm literally just thinking of, okay, man. And you know what? I give you the question, you give me the first answer that pops into your head.
All right.
First one, I kind of mentioned that I was going to be doing this one. Craziest in-match moment for you?
I would say that's okay. I'm going to do two categories here real quick. Craziest thing I've had happen to me, and craziest moment in the match, I'll say.
Okay.
Worst injury I had in wrestling, I hate to say it, from a death match, was in fact getting hit with a pool noodle that was covered in actual wine glasses.
Ooh.
My opponent didn't know it was a fans bring the weapons thing, which for the record, I hate that gimmick. He just grabbed it, didn't know what it was, swung it at me, and one of the wine glasses broke, and the stem stabbed me and went down in my back. So I have a scar about this long on my back where it stabbed me and went down.
Ouch.
Honestly, that's probably the craziest moment I've had in a match anyway.
I would say that would be hard to beat. You know,
I think that's going to be it.
I think it was Lloyd Anoa'i told me a story about New Jack and ECW where they both ended up going through a wall, and Paul Heyman ended up yelling at him later. So that was one of my, like, I always love asking this question because I love hearing the stories behind it.
Yeah.
Like that one, or I mentioned the moment in the Jake Chris Joel Bateman match where it was actually what led up to the ending, where they took 4 metal folding chairs, bridged 2 panes of glass on them, and then I see Bobby roll in, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing? He pulls out a thing of lighter fluid, and they light the glass on fire.
There it is.
Love
that.
Most people that I know from around me in the Omaha area, if they were there with me, they would have thought I was insane with, like, I was just like, oh my God, yes! That was awesome!
Love that. My adju, when I hit with those wine glasses, we went another 12 minutes still.
Oh boy.
And I was just bleeding with a huge gash out my back.
Oh,
and
God.
The referee's like, hey man, you might want to go home. No, we got it. It doesn't feel like anything. It didn't feel like anything. Not until, like, I think I got to the hospital, like, oh, this kind of hurts now.
one of those when the adrenaline wears off.
Man, my adrenaline, I don't know what it is. I don't feel it for the longest time until it's like, oh, okay, that does kind of suck.
Yeah, and you know what? Before the Jake Chris match, the match before it was a multi-person Monsters Ball match, so they had shit already all throughout, and they were getting ready to clean it up. But Jake rolls in, and is like, fuck it, leave it, let's go.
Of course he did.
Oh yeah, he's insane, but I love him to death. Now, I also, this is a question I really love asking the deathmatch guys. What is a weapon you would like to avoid being used in a match of yours if you had the choice?
Carpet strips.
Yeah, those are a bitch.
I think they just suck and there's no payoff. I don't know. It's as a fan, it doesn't seem like there's a huge payoff. You don't really bleed out of them, and
Yeah, they live
a lot of
such small.
yeah, they just kind of suck. It's
Yeah,
like, ow! Don't hit me with that.
yeah, no, they're definitely. I mean, they're a pain in the ass enough when you're like trying to replace carpet or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can only imagine getting hit by one. And yeah, like we were saying, it's not like they, unless you like really rake it across somebody, like they leave such a small hole there that,
Yeah, yeah.
when you want some real nasty blood looking stuff, you want something that's like, oh,
Like a gusset.
a gusset plate
Yeah,
or
yeah.
hell, even, I mean, barbed wire when you really get going can kind
Yeah,
of.
you get all those things much better. Carpet strip is just like this, like you said, it's like we've all stepped on one accidentally or whatever in a match. If it's like on the ropes or something, yeah, you get whipped into it. Oh, that hurt. But it's like you're not really gonna be bleeding. There's no good visual effect of it. It's just like, okay, that sucked. Throw me in a barbed wire. It'd look a lot better, I promise you.
I was gonna say, yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I know one that a weapon that got brought up a bunch was actually toothpicks.
Probably same thing, yeah. I take in
And
the skewers. The skewers are fine.
yeah, they're
Those are
big enough
fine.
that,
Yeah, yeah.
but the toothpicks are so small, and like you break off the wrong piece, and then it's like just getting infected and embedded in your skin, and you're just like, it just gives me the shivers thinking about it. Like I remember somebody told me the story of Alex Colon before a match, looking through weapons to potentially use in a match, came across something with a bunch of toothpicks in it, and he just chucks it into the woods and like, fuck it, no.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I love. This is one reason why I love having these categories in here, because I love hearing the stories behind everything.
Yeah.
Next one, definitely a random one, but I love getting to hear people's answers to this.
Okay.
What would you say is your spirit animal?
Spirit animal?
Yes.
Um, I've never thought about this. Everyone
It
I know
doesn't
in
get
the
thought about often.
yeah, everyone in the back will say, I have the personality of like a dog because I'm just friendly with everyone in the back. But then I get in the ring and I just don't care what you do to me, and I start doing like vicious things back to you. So it's like you have a personality of a dog in the back, and then when you get in the ring, you're like a shark or something, man, because like you're a very different person.
I'm I'm very much the same. I'm like easy to get along with.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
try to get along with everybody,
I live
but
by that. You gotta.
oh, but the the moment there's two buttons of mine you don't push, and the moment you do, then it's like I've mentioned it before with people. When I get pissed off to the point I'm silent, run.
Yeah, run. That's where it is, man.
Oh yeah. Now I would feel weird if I didn't ask this question with the name of a show like Drinking at Moe's.
All right.
Favorite drink, whether it be alcoholic or non, or one of each, because I've had plenty of people on that for one reason or another don't drink. So I try to be respectful of that.
Well, guess what? You got another one. No, yeah, no, I don't. I haven't drank in about 10 years now.
Okay.
Uh, had to do it with my own health.
All right.
Uh,
Nothing wrong with
my
that.
my go-to drink. I'm probably drinking one of those Red Dragon Rain energy drinks, man. I chug
Okay.
that thing. I get cases of it when I do get it. My wife and I, we like to go and like just check out energy drinks all the time occasionally. But there's the go-to, man. There's always the go-to, you know.
Oh yeah. No, I can definitely understand that. I know my wife likes to joke with me, telling me I have a Dr. Pepper problem. I tell her, well, as long as I have some, I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
I tell her the only time I have a problem is if I don't have any.
Hey, I get cranky when I have caffeine. I get it. I totally
So,
get it, man.
oh yeah, no, she would definitely vouch that for me too.
Yeah, yeah.
Last but not least, here, best advice for anybody wanting to get into wrestling.
Don't worry about weight training at first. Worry about your cardio because most schools want that more than anything.
You know,
Cardio. Be
I
ready to do lots of drills.
I've been lucky enough to just do a pro wrestling boot camp once, and yeah, it was mostly cardio, but we did get some in ring stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I asked one of my best friends that's a wrestler here in Omaha, and I asked him, what should I work on to kind of get in shape so I'm not making an ass of myself there?
Yeah, yeah.
And he cardio.
Yep.
First thing he said.
Cardio.
Coincidentally, that pro wrestling boot camp was in the same hotel that I was put in the night before I left for Navy boot camp.
Oh shit. Okay.
So it was like left there for one boot camp, going back for another.
Another one. Yeah. Heck yeah.
Oh
No,
yeah,
no. Most schools they want to see like if you're gonna like hang in there because they're gonna try to blow you up. They're gonna see if they like what's your breaking point, you know. So be
yeah,
ready for that. So I always tell people be ready for that. We have young guys come up a lot of time like, hey man, I want to be a wrestler. Like, do I need to be doing this kind of weight training? I'm like, man, the muscles will come. You need to get past that first day drill, man, because a lot of places I know have a first day drill and they want to see what you're made of, and it's a lot of cardio.
yeah. I've heard plenty of stories on that. I mean, hell, you hear stories from people that go through the WWE tryouts and
Yeah,
their first day stuff, and
tons of
like,
cardio.
yep, it just sounds insane, all the stuff they're doing, but it's like, hey, like they always said in my boot camp, there's a method to the madness.
Yep.
Definitely. Now, before we go, where can people find you social media wise, so if they don't already have their eyes on you, they can go ahead and get them there?
Okay. Find me on I guess the X now. It's not
Yeah,
Twitter
whatever
anymore.
they want to call it.
I'm at Dimitri Killbear. Um, I got a Facebook still, Dimitri Alexandrov. I'll add people. I'm on Instagram for Dimitri_Alexandrov. I got a TikTok. I need to use it. I don't really use it. It's just Dimitri Alexandrov on that. But and then of course I got Pro Wrestling Tees
Hmm?
at Dimitri Alexandrov. But I also have my own big cartel. Runs. It's all mom and pop's run. It's all me shipping out stuff. I like to write little things to people. You know. That's at Dimitri Alexandrov Big Cartel. So always
Hey,
got stuff there, merch. But
definitely
yeah.
get links to all that in the description. I know my TikTok. I haven't gotten for the show anyways. I haven't really used it as much besides posting like match clips when I go to a show or
Nice,
something.
nice.
I need to get on there and try to figure out some more stuff for that. But
I need to actually post something on there.
that,
my wife is like, you got to get TikTok. The kids really like the TikTok. I'm like, that's the only one that doesn't really call to me social media wise, but all right, I'll do it.
yeah, I've noticed a lot of wrestlers getting on there now and kind of just doing like match clip compilation
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It's not promos and stuff. No, no.
Yeah, not so much. I mean, I've posted some of the little intros that I have everybody do. Those don't seem to do so well. But then I have a match clip of like a guy running his head into a chair in the corner, and then that gets like 1,000 some views.
People love the violence, man. What can I say?
Yeah, maybe I just need to keep my eye out on more of that then. Well, that is about all I have. Want to thank
Awesome.
you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you for
And
having me.
no, you're very welcome. You're welcome back anytime. And best of luck out there with everything you got coming up this month.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mo.